Now, if you've ever wondered how it's like to start working in the mining industry, even if you don't have a mining background at all, this is the guy to talk to. Hi, this is Fabi from The Next Big Rush, where we talk about growing your wealth through smart investing. If that's anything you'd like, then hit the subscribe button and the little bell right next to it so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now, this is an interview that I did a few weeks back with a good friend of mine, Sean Kingsley. He is IR, which in our lingo is investor relations for at least 2 public companies, and he also runs a series of different mining related events, so that people like you and me can actually meet with CEOs, or people who work in the industry can meet one another. We have a lot of GOs who participate in these events, and investors, all sorts of backgrounds coming together in order to exchange ideas. Now, you'd think that somebody like this kind of grew up in the industry from maybe his parents or something like that, but I kid you not, he came from absolutely nowhere and made a really solid name for himself in the industry. He's super young, but he's got great advice. Here's Sean Kingsley. All right, Sean Kingsley, welcome. Thank you very much for participating. I would like to just get right into it and ask you, what kind of services do you provide public companies and, general, I guess, mining companies? What do you do?
Yeah, so I do work for strictly only junior mining companies, exploration companies, couple focuses in different areas. But it's more about the communications, investor relations, speaking to not only the investors, but also the media outlets, newsletter writers. I also coordinate a bunch of marketing, because marketing is important in this business. So that's just the gist of it, I guess.
I see that you're also involved in running events. Is that correct? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So I've been in the business for going on 12 years, 12 years next year. So almost 12 years. I was a complete introvert in the very beginning for about four years of that. I didn't meet anyone. I didn't really have a big network or anything. I just kind of stuck to myself and worked with the companies I worked with. But it needed a change. So I really took it upon myself to really open up. Since then, I'm the co-host of Vancouver's elite networking event, monthly networking event called Mining for Beer. We meet about once a month, every single month. 60, 80 people are coming out. There's no soliciting, so a lot of the executives like it. Students come out, geologists, you name it, the whole gamut of the industry come out, get to know each other. You're as strong as your network in this business. I also am involved in the Association for Mineral Exploration. The vice chair of their communications and marketing committee. It's a great organization that essentially advocates for mineral exploration, not only in British Columbia, but the globe. So it's a good thing to be involved in that, as well as this thing called the Center of Training Excellence in Mining, which is formulating. We got a few different mandates, but one of them is to create some kind of mining related diploma for students to get into mining, to learn about mining, to get into mining, have some kind of credentials before you get into the actual industry. So yeah, I'm involved in a few different places.
Not bad for an introvert.
Thanks.
Or former introvert. Now, I'm assuming that, Sean, you didn't just wake up one day in Vancouver and said, yeah, I'm going to get into mining. That sounds like a great idea. How did you get involved with this?
When I first got into business, I didn't even know anything about mining. I didn't know if it's not grown, it's mined. I learned a lot in these 11 years. But it all just came down to knowing someone in the business. I took interest to one of my friends' involvement in the business. I got him to sit down with me for a couple hours, ran right through, you name it, from the brokerage firms to junior mining to investing, even just the general markets itself. And so I loved what he was doing. So he got me an interview the next week and I got hired and I'm still here.
Awesome. And what sort of opportunities do you see in the industry? Because you've been at it for quite some time, and now you're probably able to say, yeah, okay, I understand how the industry works as a whole. I believe you also have seen, not just the top and not just the bottom of a cycle, but you've been able to just go through that whole experience through time. Where do you see the best opportunities and the most interesting opportunities going forward for young people that might be, interested in getting involved?
Yeah, for number one, you got to realize it's a very cyclical market. There's always peaks and valleys, up and down. But if you can definitely survive when it's on a downturn, on the upturn, you should thrive very well. I've learned several lessons throughout my tenure so far. I would have to say the number one thing is we're coming into a very interesting period in the industry itself. A lot of the baby boomers are retiring or coming out of retirement just to fill the gaps right now. As the predictions in the next 2 to 4 years, we're going to have a little crisis or epidemic where we don't have enough people involved in this industry to push it forward. And it's one of the oldest industries in the world. Like you always need mining, no matter if you're building houses or if you're building planes. Like you need all the minerals you can, especially nowadays with all the electric cars and stuff. So there is a big opportunity for the younger generation to get involved in the mining industry. Pretty much there's high paying jobs. Like on average, I'd probably say, if you're going to work out in the field on the technical side, you can make easily 100 grand a year, and that's Canadian dollars. And especially with the inflation happening now, like that's a pretty good start. Like I started making 30 grand a year. So it's a good business. There's going to be a lot of opportunities, and it's not just in the field. Like I'm in an office all the time wearing a suit. Like I talk to people on the phone. I build presentations. I get to be creative and stuff like that. It's coming into a bit of an evolution now where, you got to have a nice website, a very highly dynamic website. You got to create videos like Fabi's doing a great job at. It's grown so fast and it's only going to get faster. There's infographics being built. There's so many different dynamics you can get involved, and it's easy to get involved too. Like you can't just sit there and say, oh, how do I get involved? You really got to reach out. Like all these people need people's help. Like you just got to let them know, like I'm interested. And, it goes back to the networking. Like you got to network, you got to start meeting people, go to meetup.com and find some people that are relevant to what you want to get into. And it shouldn't be too hard, or even ask Fabi. I'm sure Fabi has a bunch of friends.
Just a few. So I was just going to ask you what sort of advice you have for young people who want to get into the industry. How could, they start networking and actually get a foot in the door? Is it just about networking? Is there something else? What kind of value can they provide? What do you think?
Like you definitely have to network. You got to attend the conferences, you got to reach out. Like some of our mutual friends and stuff, like the reason why I met them is because they reached out. Like one in particular, Trevor Hall. Like Trevor Hall just kept on messaging me on social media and stuff. And eventually I'm like, okay, let's schedule a call. And now we work together on so many different parallels. It's great. He even started Mining for Beer in Denver. You can definitely, no matter what part of the country or the world you are, you can definitely find a way to get in. Investor relations is probably one of the easiest position because everyone's learning. Like you got to be able to talk to people, tell people about the story, about what the company's doing, and essentially that's your first start. If you're a good storyteller, if you can relay information, eventually all the other details about different grading, different widths, economic or not, all the lingo and stuff, you can go to the websites. Investopedia.com, I used that a lot in the very beginning of my career. There's a lot of resources now. You can go to CEO.ca, ask a question. There's so many people there that have the answers, and our industry is such a small industry and everyone's willing to help out. Like we're totally open. We're an open industry. We're an open community. We're a small community, but we're very open, and we want to see everyone succeed. Like we're all going for the same goals. So definitely just don't be shy like me.
Awesome. And there's quite a few, I'd say, management level people that watch our channel. And for those people who are involved in the nitty gritty of getting a company off the ground, maybe, a junior company, what is your advice to them? Because you're an expert in communicating from a public company standpoint. I've seen you put out some content that was just jaw dropping, not jaw dropping in the sense of like, oh my gosh, the stock is going to go to the moon, because that's not that difficult to do, in the sense that if you know how to sell, you can just sell a story, whether it's true or not. I'm talking about just good quality, clear communication, great design, just top quality stuff that you've been putting out. And so I know that you're an expert at that, but what would you tell companies regarding getting the word out and communicating to investors?
Content is king, and like if you're not sharing your story, like news releases in public, you have to put out news releases directly from the distribution houses, but that's essentially as far as it goes. Like in these ages, like you have to be more creative. You have to do so many different elements like video and images and pictures, grasp people's attention, like find some grasping headlines that really reach out to people without stepping over the line. You got to be very careful. We are public companies, we're running public companies, so messaging is key, as long as we're all on the right messaging side of things. The way I look at it is you gotta have a bit of a system. It's like a machine. Like essentially, you're going to have service providers. They're all going to help you tell your story. They're all going to do different things. But when you're in a good time, everyone is having success in your internal team, regardless if you think they're not doing anything at all. If they're there for a specific reason, they're still a part of the team, and you just got to keep them happy. And if not, you got to ask them. You got to tell them, what are your deliverables? Like, what are you doing for the company, for the shareholders' money, in order to help us raise awareness and stuff. So it's a well-run machine. There's so many different elements. Like you should see all the different diagrams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a circle of like all the circle of the people that are around these organizations. And whenever we have anything to say, I'm going to every single one of them, and it just grows from there. There's you got to have a big team, and everyone plays their part.
So basically, there's more than just one piece to the puzzle, correct?
there's multiple pieces to, and it just doesn't stop there. Like it just grows, and especially if like look at the last 2 months, like, and especially in here in Canada, like there's companies that are really being very successful with the drill. Even in Australia, Royal Nickel this morning is just amazing. But there's so many different fronts. Look, Royal Nickel put out their news release at like 8:30 p.m. Pacific time yesterday. You know why? Because they have to gear up everyone ready for Monday morning. So I'm sure they contacted all the third-party distribution channels. They contacted all the newsletter writers and analysts and got everyone on board. And here we go. Like it's
and today it's up by I don't even know how much.
I think last week it was probably averaging about 6 cents. It's now at like 17 cents on 58 million shares today.
Wow, that's huge. That is huge.
Well, their hit was huge, but look at all the other companies, Aben Resources in the Golden Triangle, along with Mike Blady's Golden Ridge and stuff. Like they just didn't put out the news. Like they had the news ready. They either halted their stock or waited until after market or before the market opened, put out the news and got everyone, up to date with what's going on. There's so many different channels. You got to do interviews, you got to do videos, you got to create graphics. Like it's multi-layered, and we got to try every way we can. That way we need young minds that are going to be more creative and think outside of the box to get involved in this industry, because this industry is changing so fast, and a lot of the guys, I hate to say it, like retirement's coming up, and the younger generation is going to step in and take this. And if you join the industry or get involved in the industry in any way now, you're really going to see the next chapter of it, and it's going to be a great chapter. We're in for a great surprise. Like the TSX Venture Index is at like 700 right now. When I first started, I think it was like 14 or 1600. So there's a lot of room to grow, and it's a good time to get involved.
Awesome. Well, I share your enthusiasm for sure. Let us know how can people get in touch with you and follow you.
Yeah, pretty much all the social media channels. At Canalcoholic is my Twitter tag. I got Facebook, but I use that as personal mostly. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a really good tool. I would suggest for anyone that is into marketing or networking, whenever you meet anyone, add them to LinkedIn. Like that's how you grow your network, and you never know. People hire from the first degree, from the people they know. They'll hire the people that they know can do a task. If they can't find that person, their next one would be to ask their friends. And if they can't find one in that friend circle, they're going to go to LinkedIn. They're going to search someone. So if you're a student or you just graduated or you have even interest in specific areas of the industry, put in LinkedIn and add as many people as you can. Like reach out to people. You never know what's going to happen.
Awesome tip. Thank you very much. I'm not going to hold the whole Canalcoholic against you being a Jets fan myself.
Hey, we beat your youngsters.
Yeah, I know. I won't talk about hockey for a little while. I'm still hurt. Thank you very much, Sean. All the best. And
awesome.
We'll keep in touch. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe because there's a lot more coming your way. Take care.